Tonight, we debate 8 Disney Renaissance films. Good evening and welcome back to another episode of Debate 8. We got another great episode for you tonight. If you are a fan of Disney, this is definitely the one that you're going to want to watch. We are going to be debating 8 of the classic Disney Renaissance animated films. We got some great movies like Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, Little Mermaid. So many good films, and we're gonna throw them all in a debate bracket, a tournament bracket, and not only are we gonna discuss it and talk about it, but you guys are gonna be voting live, and you guys are gonna be the one deciding who moves on and who is actually going to be our winner for tonight, who you think is going to be the best Disney Renaissance animated movie. And luckily though, I'm not doing this alone. I've got an awesome guest with me today, another first-time guest to the show, somebody who is halfway around the world but has stayed up, thank goodness, stayed up late in the early evening, late nights over there in the UK just to make sure that he's here talking Disney with us. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's bring him on. Here we go. We have Elliot from the channel on YouTube, Hakuna MaChatter. Elliot, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Adam, mate, I am great. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. You one of the foremost people that I follow on YouTube and Twitter who knows their Disney stuff. So I couldn't think of a better person to bring on and talk about all these classic Disney movies than the man himself here. So how long have you been a fan of all these Disney movies? What's your relationship with them? Has it been a long time that you've been a fan of them? What's your feelings on all these movies that we're about to discuss?
I mean, I'm one of those classic people that I just grew up with Disney. I think I have like a very limited memory of the very first films I ever watched, and I think along with Star Wars and E.T., The Lion King is up there as my memory of the first film I ever watched. So it's kind of been, and that must have been about 5-6 years. So nearly 30 years later, I'm like,
Yeah.
20 years later, I'm like, yeah, I've watched them all. I've soaked them up at least 5 times a year.
Right.
And yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a true Disney kid.
Yeah, me too. Especially these. A lot of these hit like prime in my life. The first one of this Disney Renaissance was Little Mermaid, which came out in '89.
Yeah.
So I'm 9 years old when this movie came out, and then it just hit after hit after hit, and that's why they call it the Disney Renaissance, because they were just churning out all these incredible films that sort of not only did do well at the box office and really people enjoy, but they were cultural movies. Like people really stuck with us, and they 30 years later, 40 years later, people are still talking about them for sure.
Oh, all right. It's that period of Disney that it just wins out against all others, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's now that we've been talking about these movies, let's go ahead and just actually take a look at some of these movies that we're actually talking about here. All right, so this is our tournament bracket. If you've never watched the show before, what we do is we have a tournament bracket style show. We take 8 topics from our topic, in this case Disney Renaissance movies, and we throw them in this bracket, and you guys are going to vote and decide live who moves on and who's going to win that matchup. And we're going to talk about it. I'm going to get some of your opinions in the chat as well, and then we're all going to vote and decide who moves on. So let's take a look at our bracket. The number 1 seed of The Lion King is going up against the number 8 seed of Tarzan. That's our first matchup. The second matchup is the number 4 seed of The Little Mermaid going up against the number 5 seed of Mulan. The next matchup we got here is the number 3 seed of Aladdin going up against the number 6 seed of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And rounding out our first matchup of the last matchup of the first round, we got the number 2 seed Beauty and the Beast going up against the number 7 seed Hercules. Elliot, I don't know about you, but there's some tough matchups in this one. I can't wait to talk about.
Yeah. There are one or two where I'm like, I know my winner straight away, but I think most of them, this is going to be tough for everyone voting. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We're gonna get a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into our very first matchup here. We got the number 1 seed Lion King going up against the number 8 seed of Tarzan. Elliot, I'll let it go to you first. Let me know, how do you feel about these movies, and what do you think about the matchup?
Firstly, I'm sorry, Tarzan. Like, I'm sorry. It's all over for you already straight away in the first round. Because as I said in the opening, like, The Lion King is just one of the first films I remember ever seeing, and like, that was it. I've fell in love with The Lion King so quickly, so hard. I just think it's such a brilliant film. It's got everything for me. Characters are insane. The music is mwah. And the story, I mean, it's based off of Shakespeare's Hamlet, loosely so, and outside of YouTube, I'm an actor as well, so anything that's got a little bit of Shakespeare in there as well, I'm like, yep,
yeah,
I'm
for sure.
Which is, it's a shame, because Tarzan isn't a bad film. Tarzan is a great fun, and I really love Tarzan soundtrack. It's the only one in this only film in this debate where it's all the music is sung by one person, right? By Phil Collins, and
right.
I mean, he did an incredible job with that.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing Tarzan actually has going for it. If you're gonna vote for Tarzan, the one thing that you can hang your head on is the music, because otherwise, I mean, we all know the story of Tarzan. It's not new. It wasn't really an original IP when they decided to run with it. That doesn't take away from anything. I mean, look, we can get down to the nitty gritty with Lion King if we need to, and talk about, what was it? Kimba the White Lion. I don't necessarily want to go down that road. But you could, but and people have. So Tarzan, it was fine, but man, for the longest time, and it's really going to test me when we get down to it down the road, whether or not Lion King still remains to me my favorite. I think going into this, before getting everyone's opinions and talking to you, The Lion King is still one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Favorite movies of all time, let alone the fact that it's animated. And so it's going to be really hard for me to beat, and it's going to take a lot of convincing. I think there are a couple movies down the road that I could be convinced on dethroning, no pun intended, The Lion King. It could happen, but in this particular matchup, I don't necessarily see how there's any competition here whatsoever, because I mean, even if you talk music, the Phil Collins music is great, and I like Phil Collins. I don't like all the stuff, but he definitely has some good tunes, but I don't think that's going to match what Elton John did with The Lion King.
But even, like, not just Elton John, Hans Zimmer as well. Like, Hans Zimmer is behind so much of the music here in The Lion King as well, and I mean, how do you beat Hans Zimmer? It only takes a John Williams to get even close to doing that. So
I mean, especially nowadays, you got John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Michael Giacchino, and those are like your top three that we're talking about these days. So Hans Zimmer added with Elton John. I would say that. That alone knocks out Tarzan, I think, for sure.
Right. I just feel so bad for Tarzan. I want it to do well, because it is a fun film, but here in this first matchup.
I mean, I think there's a lot of these matchups in the first round are going to be like that, where the lower seed movies are decent movies, but you're going up against some all-time classics, heavy hitters that you're never gonna overcome.
Yeah,
Who
I
knows?
think this first round we have to just be brutal.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. You gotta vote. You can't feel too much pity for Tarzan. I think a little bit of pity, but not too much. It's fine. We've talked about it. Let's see what the people have to say. Okay, so if this is your first time, this is how it works. We vote live here in the YouTube chat. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to go to a Survey Monkey. We do everything right here in the chat. So here are your directions on how to vote. If you want to vote for the Lion King, in the chat, do exclamation vote 1. That's the exclamation with the word vote. There's a space and then the number. So in this case, for Lion King, it's 1. I'm going to do it right in the chat so everyone can have a nice example of what to do. If you want to vote for Tarzan, which hopefully maybe there'll be one person who wants to vote for Tarzan. We'll see. If you do want to vote for Tarzan, do exclamation vote 8 in the chat. Now, the poll is open. We got about 2 minutes left. I seriously doubt Tarzan is going to get any votes. This is not a round where I think people are going to be pity voting on Tarzan.
I know. I kind of felt like, do I just do it anyway? Even,
Right.
I know that I want the Lion King to win. I know the Lion King's going to win, but do I just? No. I mean, I've already voted.
Right. Yeah. Look, there is. We were talking beforehand. I'm not going to give away which one, but there is a movie that I probably will vote for, even though I know that it's not going to win its matchup in the first round.
Right.
We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
I will bring it up soon. But not really, not for Tarzan. I don't know that anyone's doing it. While we're voting, we do have some of our regulars here tonight, so I just want to do a couple shout outs. Acacia is here. Acacia, welcome. It's been a couple weeks, so thank you for being here. DKOT Rebels is back. It's been a week or two since you've been here, and thank you for coming again. Sir Nerdalot is here. I saw Cap Pennsylvania was here as well. So thank you all for coming. I know it's tough with the YouTube not giving out notifications, so everything's all screwy. So it's a crapshoot whether or not people actually come in. But we got a nice crew here, and I know there's a couple people I talked to who said that they're definitely going to make it. So once they realize that it's 9 o'clock, then they're gonna jump on in. So with about 30 seconds to go, I think we can pretty much call it. I don't think that anyone else is going to
I don't see 6 people suddenly turning the tide.
Oh, yeah, right. So as the time rolls down, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to add the Lion King to our bracket. No big surprise there. We got 7 seconds left on the clock. So we'll just round that one out. Yeah, Lion King definitely is our winner. There we go.
That's a great poster choice you've got there as well. I love that.
Which one, the Lion King?
Yeah. I've never seen that one before.
That's beautiful. There's a site that I use that collects all sorts of different posters, and I saw that one. I was like, you know what? I like that one. I like that one as well. Yeah. Let's see here. Just some comments from before. So Acacia said, "Hey there, tough start. Phil Collins went hard on Tarzan, but I think Lion King is a clear winner. I find myself singing Lion King songs quite often."
Right there with you.
And that's definitely something I think we're going to get into the second round for sure. We didn't talk too much Lion King because I think it was so overwhelmingly like it's going to happen. I'm sure that once we get into the second round, we're really going to have to pinpoint why Lion King should or should not move on. But speaking of which, let's go to our second matchup of the night. This one, I have no idea which way this is going to go. I literally think this might be the closest matchup of the night. It's the number 4 seed of the Little Mermaid going up against the number 5 seed of of Mulan. Two classics. I would say early on in my childhood, Little Mermaid was definitely a bigger deal than Mulan, and as time has gone on, I think it might have flipped. I think more people nowadays are on board for Mulan more than maybe even more movies than on this list. So how do you feel at this point with these two movies?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I suppose I would lean more towards Milan actually. I think because I remember seeing this one in the cinema with my dad. It was one of those sort of afternoons where we, as far as I remember, I mean, this was ages ago, but we didn't really have much to do, and we knew this new Disney film was out, so we went to check it out. I mean, we were both absolutely amazed by it, gobsmacked. And the thing with Little Mermaid is that I mean it's a fun film, and I really love the music, and I really love Ursula. I think she's one of the best Disney villains that we've got going, and you also can't take away from the fact that the Little Mermaid was the one that kicked off the Renaissance period. So that it's got that going for it as well.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? You have some really incredible songs for the Little Mermaid. Even more so, I don't want to say more so than Mulan, but I Mulan's got some quality songs. I think Little Mermaid has not only quality but quantity as well. I think when it comes down to you have a lot more
songs, aren't there?
Yeah. Obviously part of your world is a song that everyone is, always singing. Sebastian Under the Sea is constantly, in pop culture everywhere. I mean, there are a lot of, songs that just resonate everywhere, for sure. And so I think that leans it for me, Little Mermaid. Now
Right.
I'll say this for Mulan though. I have rewatched that more recently. Just it's actually a big. My wife is a big fan of the Mulan movie, so I've actually been watching it a lot because now that it's on Disney Plus and everything, like it's easier to catch up on all these movies again. And it's really good. Like it is a great movie. And it's very serious, and it's definitely. We'll get to Hunchback down the road, and I think next to Hunchback, it might be the second, most serious movie out of this, era. Not taking away Mushu, clearly, for the comedic relief, but it's definitely a serious tone, and it's a welcome one too.
And also, it offered something different as well. Most of the female characters. I think someone posted, so here you go, Decot Rebel saying "damsel versus warrior." I'll take Mulan, and I kind of understand where Decot's coming from there, because definitely with a lot of our Disney female characters, they're a princess, or vowing to fall in love with a handsome prince, and Mulan just had a completely different motive. That wasn't, it was nothing about that. She just wanted to protect her father and save her country. And I think, for me personally, that little bit of difference that it offers there, I think that's why Mulan will probably edge this one for me.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too. Sir Nerlot says, yeah, some reason Little Mermaid didn't age well with me. I gotta say, rewatching both of those, I agree. I think, can you really knock off the Little Mermaid though for not aging? I mean, if the story didn't age, then that's fine. Then yes, you can knock off points. But I gotta say though, I do agree as far as animation goes, it really hasn't held up. It's sort of in the same ballpark for me as Toy Story 1. Still a great story, still an amazing, characters and what they go through and arcs, but the animation doesn't hold up at all. And Little Mermaid's tough. It's a tough watch because it doesn't necessarily hold up. And nothing reminded me that more than, I don't know if you saw this. This is sort of a little bit of a tangent where they did the Little Mermaid live. Did you happen to catch that? That abomination of a program.
Disney Plus, isn't it? So
don't bother. Honestly, all they did was you're literally watching the movie of The Little Mermaid, and every time there was a song, they cut to people in real life singing the song. That's all it was. They didn't do like a stage play of it. It was so it was so weird. I was like, well, I could have just watched the movie. You're cutting out the best parts. it was very, very strange. So you can
so strange because it'll just change all the voices and characterization, and
you can Queen Latifah was pretty good though. If you're gonna watch anything, watch the Queen Latifah stuff. She was actually really good. I don't know, I'm really torn on this one. I gotta go to some people to see what they're saying. If it's by song, Little Mermaid hands down, but Mulan was just a good ass movie, and that's the thing, right? Little Mermaid definitely more of a musical at its heart. Mulan definitely has music, but it's definitely more story driven. The story of the Little Mermaid is very basic. Girl falls in love, trades you know, what she has for what she wants, and then realizes at the end, oh, I could have everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. Akasia says, yes, early on I loved Little Mermaid, and I think my daughter definitely loves it more. She's 5 and loves Little Mermaid. But Mulan is such a great story. Man, that's a hard to choose. I agree. My daughter does really like, who is about the same age, really does like Little Mermaid. Mulan is a little bit too mature for her. Not that she can't watch it, but just the themes and the character arcs it's just a little bit too mature for younger. So
Well,
I think
sure,
that's where you have.
Yeah, and the politics of Mulan, it's a little deeper as well.
Oh, for sure. So I think that's really what it is. I would say that people our age now, probably leaning more towards Mulan because it's definitely a more serious movie. And if we were all younger, if we were in our teens, I bet Little Mermaid might run away with it. You never know.
Yeah, I suppose it's what you want, really, isn't it? Do you want the Little Mermaid, which leans towards a bit more of classic Disney, what we were all sort of used to before the Renaissance period, or do you go for Mulan, which was, you know, by the end of the Renaissance, a much more progressive film?
Sure, for sure. And let's see what the people have to say. I've started the poll. Poll is now open. If you want to vote for the Little Mermaid, do !vote 4 in the chat. Remember, there is a space between vote and the number. And if you want to vote for Mulan, do !vote 5. Those are your two choices. This is a tough one for me. I'm torn. I'll be honest. I'm torn.
Yeah, I think I know which one I want to go for, but I'm gonna see how the chat goes. I'm gonna see how the people vote for a second before we've got some time.
You're gonna sit back for a second. You're just gonna see. So we got a Mulan right out the gate. I really, you know what? I think Mulan is actually gonna win this. But hey, you know, we could be surprised. I'm sort of like real time describing what's happening here. Like I said, this one is gonna go down to the wire. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Thank goodness I still have almost 2 minutes left, because I really don't know.
I wonder if also, you know, the fact that we would due the Mulan remake, if it's more in people's mind at the moment as well, and that might carry it through. Sure,
100%. You know, behind the scenes, me and you were supposed to do a Disney remake movie show tonight. We kind of, you know, pivoted and did this instead. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's all people are talking about is this Mulan live action movie, and you know, people wanting to see it. So who knows how that's going to go. But yeah, definitely, I think people are thinking more Mulan nowadays with that movie coming out, and especially with the controversy of Little Mermaid and the casting that people had with it. Like it's sort of like the opposite. Like people were talking about it, but not in a necessarily positive light, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I gonna do? I got a minute left. I gotta make a decision.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go for it. Here we go.
All right. I'm also going for it. Okay. You know what? And I'll explain my vote. I went Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I think it's just more of a classic movie. I get that there's parts. Sebastian's still one of my favorite characters ever. I still love the songs. I think what's pushing me over in this situation is the songs over story. But you know, it looks like Mulan's gonna win anyway. So my vote really meant nothing, which is fine. It's usually how it goes on this show.
Turn the tide.
It could have. It usually doesn't. I'm usually on the losing end of all of these votes, which is fine. It's what makes it fun for me. But it looks like as time is winding down here, Mulan with the slight upset. You know, not necessarily a huge upset, because I think to some people it's definitely not a big surprise that Mulan may have moved on, but Mulan is our winner. So let's go ahead and jump back into the bracket here. 60% of the vote. I knew it was going to be close, and that's pretty close. So Mulan is slightly edging out the Little Mermaid to move on to the next round. Okay, so this next one is going to be tough for me. Okay, we got the number 3 seed Aladdin going up against the number 6 seed of Hunchback and Notre Dame, and I'm going to jump in this one first, if you don't mind, because I want to get the love out. And I was telling you this before we started before we started going live, that I love The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It is hands down one of my favorite Disney animated movies of all time. Look, I'm not saying it's better than Aladdin. I mean, maybe I am. I'm telling you, I might vote for Hunchback, even though I know it's a losing battle. I love this movie. It's the darkest Disney animated movie ever. The villain is great. It's got incredible music. Let's put aside the whole Jason Alexander statue stuff, because I think a lot of these Disney animated movies, you can always pick one thing and kind of shove it to the side and say let's ignore that. So ignoring that, I just love it. The whole idea of hunting down gypsies and hunting down a race of people, and about God and country, and the struggle between man and who's good and who's evil. I mean, it's so good. I mean, the villain's song is about sex and burning people alive. I mean, it's look, Disney changes a lot of their stuff in their movies sometimes. I'm surprised this one has been left pretty much, untouched, because there's some dark stuff in this, and I absolutely love this movie. I think Aladdin is going to win. I have no problems with Aladdin moving on. I have a lot of positive things to say about Aladdin that I'll probably wait till the next round, because I know this is moving on. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least try to give a push for Hunchback of Notre Dame, because I love this movie so much. Elliot, tell me why I'm 100% wrong, and why Aladdin is absolutely moving on without a single vote other than myself.
Do you know, I actually don't think you're 100% wrong, and here's something interesting, and I think
I'll take it.
Kind of cast back to the last round with Little Mermaid and Mulan as well. Like when I was a kid, I remember we used to go around to a family friend's house, and me and my two sisters, we would go with the two kids of this family. We'd go downstairs into the basement where we had they had the sort of kids playroom, and we'd stick Aladdin on. And every time we went round, we'd stick Aladdin on. We'd build a little duvet fort, and we'd all five of us watch Aladdin.
Sure.
And and it's just forever been that film in there that I think is just fantastic, and really speaks out to classic Disney, while also capturing the sort of new Renaissance period at the same time. And also just throwing in Robin Williams, which is always going to be it was the first time they had a real big celebrity voice in there, right. And he just came in and I think in a way changed the face of Disney with that. That all being said, Hunchback of Notre Dame, as I've grown up and I've actually sat down and watched that film, everything you've pointed out is so true. Like it's such a dark film, and I love it for that. And the score, oh my gosh, that score is incredible. It's kind of, it does that incredible thing of being like haunting and uplifting at the same time. Like, it's almost like a Broadway play in a sense. Like it almost feels like they wrote it to be like a stage play, and then they sort of converted it over to an animated movie. Yeah, definitely. And even not just, and also, as you said, all the sort of the race stuff with the gypsies, but then also Quasimodo himself having a lead character that he takes an absolute beating throughout that film, especially at the Feast of Fools as well. That scene when he's tied down on the little wooden spindly thing, and
brutal.
I actually showed it to a couple friends 2 years back now. They'd never seen it before, and I've never seen two adults, so haunted over an animation film, a Disney animation film.
I know, I'm telling you.
To the point, one of the guys the next day was like, "Elliot, I can't stop thinking about that film. I don't know how I feel."
And that movie stuck with me for a long time too. I mean, I love the music. I think the music sells me. The story sells me. The story sells me. So that I will be voting for Hunchback. It's a losing battle. I understand, and I'm reading all these people in the chat saying Prince Ali, Robin Williams as the genie. 100%. I agree 100%, and I think that it's going to be a strong contender going into the next round because it's definitely winning. But yeah, I just look. I got to give a lot of love to Hunchback because I know that no one else will. So that's I told myself if for nothing else, this one particular matchup, I was gonna hardcore go Hunchback, and I did. I said my piece, and now you all can vote. Time is running. The poll is open. Tell me how wrong I am. Let me be the only person to do Hunchback of Notre Dame. If you want to vote for Aladdin, go ahead and do exclamation vote 3 in the chat. If you want to do Hunchback of Notre Dame, do exclamation vote 6 in the chat. Those are your two options. We already got 2 votes for Aladdin. No big surprise. I am sticking to my word. I am voting Hunchback.
In the same way I feel sorry for Tarzan, but
yeah. I feel more sorry for Hunchback. Look, if we did a bracket of like underrated or like unknown Disney animated films, I think this one could go really far. You're going. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're going up against at this point Lion King, Mulan, Aladdin, and we still haven't even hit Beauty and the Beast. It never had a chance of winning. But I thought maybe, but you know what? Robin Williams is such a killer. Like you say Robin Williams as the genie, that's a killer right there. That's a stab.
I mean, you know, Aladdin is a good film, but once the genie comes in, it's a great film.
Yeah.
And it just flies from there. 'Cause it's not just the genie you get carpet as well. And I think just from there on, it's from that midway point onwards, it's a tough film to beat. And also, you know, once the genie arrives, you have Friend Like Me, you have Prince Ali, and you have A Whole New World still to come in that film.
Right.
In the second half, like that's tough. That's tough to beat that.
It is tough. That's a 3-hit, you know, knockout right there, right in a row with that movie, and that's why people love it, man. Because the songs are great. They're absolutely wonderful. I can't wait to gush on these movies in the next round because I didn't do any gushing on Aladdin this round, but believe me, I'm gonna be gushing on this movie come round 2 because it's definitely gonna make it for sure. A lot of people. Looks like we got Aladdin moving on. No big surprise there. I will. Oh, we got one more voting coming in here. Okay, so Aladdin for sure is moving on with about 83% of the vote.
Just before we lose Hunchback, and you already said this, but I have to just reinforce it. Hellfire is the best Disney villain song.
Yes, thank you.
It really is.
Thank you. Thank you. It is 100%. Look, if for nothing else, if you've never seen the movie or you're not a fan of the movie, go on, you know, iTunes or Apple Music, go on Spotify, listen to that song, and tell me Hellfire isn't the one. Look, Be Prepared. It rivals Be Prepared. I know people always say Be Prepared is the best villain song, and it is. It's great. Yeah. I'm telling you, Hellfire. It just like puts chills down your bone the way what he sings about and. Especially for a Disney movie. I mean, I could see this. Hunchback is really a DreamWorks animated movie. I feel like this was that time period where they were kind of like trying to match up with DreamWorks because they were big at this point in time too, and they were starting to get a big name for themselves. And it was definitely like hey, DreamWorks, we can do serious too, but it still has that Disney flair, which is why we got the stone statues, but
the gargoyles.
The gargoyles. I kept forgetting gargoyles. Oh man! All right, so we've done it. We have Aladdin moving on. Let me complete this this poll here. There we go. Let's jump back to the bracket real quick. Aladdin moving on, 83% of the vote to 17%. So yeah. All right. I got to note that your my guest volume is low, so I'm going to raise you right here. So hopefully we should be good right now. I I got my inside man, Alan, always text me, give me my audio tips because it sounds great on my end, but you never know when it comes out on streaming.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aladdin moves on. All right, let's do number 2, Beauty and the Beast, up against the number 7 seed of Hercules. I think this is just like our Lion King matchup. I think this one is going to be a no-brainer. I don't necessarily know that we need to talk about this one too much, unless you have a lot to say about Hercules. I mean, I'll say this: Hades is one of the best villains that Disney has produced. So I think Hercules is definitely more of a comedy than most of the other ones that we've had on the list. Even though Aladdin definitely is a comedy too, but Hercules is right up there with the comedy. It's a very funny movie, and Hades definitely brings the funny in this movie.
Yeah, this isn't as a tough one for me. I can see how it might be a tough one for a lot of people, but for me, actually, Hercules does edge this.
Really?
I think for the reason, I think definitely for Hades as well. I think he's certainly more interesting villain in that. Sure, he has his evil tendencies, but the fact that he comes in with just kind of a lot of fun with it, and the comedy is just so on point. That first scene where he's talking to the fates worse than death, I think is just brilliant. His sort of initial calm demeanor juxtaposed with his moments of just absolute rage when he burns up with fire. I just think it's just brilliant. There's a lot of variety in his characterization, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say there.
Okay.
And I've always loved the music of Hercules. I think it has some of the best songs. Zero to Hero is arguably my second favorite Disney song of all time.
This is one with No Chance, No Way, right? Isn't that this one?
Yes, I Won't Say I'm in Love.
Yeah. That one is constantly playing in my household because my wife is huge. She's a huge Hercules fan, giant. When we were making this bracket, it was we got to give love to Pocahontas a little bit here too, because Pocahontas almost made it, but Hercules actually got the slot over Pocahontas, and my wife is to thank for that because this is one of her favorite Disney movies for sure.
Yeah,
especially because of the music.
And I was going to say something else about Hercules. I actually think that Meg, it might be my favorite, or at least one of my favorite female Disney characters. I just love her sassy attitude, but you can tell she also has that little heart of gold as well, but it's not the forefront of her character. Her character, she's very nuanced.
Sure.
In that she has these feelings. We learn that she lost a love and she signed a deal with Hades and so on and so forth. But she wears this mask and she's always sassy and funny and tries to make out as if she's on top, when really she's kind of crumbling inside. And I don't know, I find it really beautiful. And that's always why I've kind of really loved Meg as a character.
Interesting.
And then we can't also forget Danny DeVito as well.
Sure.
As Phil.
Very funny.
I mean, he has one of my favorite, one of the smartest jokes in Disney ever. When he says, I have 2 words for you. I am retired. He then speaks 3 words.
Right.
And the reason is that in Greek, the word I am retired is 2 words.
Okay.
So that's where that joke comes from.
Nice.
Which I always think, when I read about that, I was like, oh my gosh. And I kind of started never to really look at Hercules the same after that. I was like, okay, this film, it's got its tricks. It's got its tricks.
Yeah. You're giving love to Hercules like I gave love to Hunchback. It might be a dying call because I think there's no way that Beauty and the Beast does not go ahead and win this. One of the greatest animated movies of all time. So much so it got nominated for Best Picture, right? This was the one that got nominated Best Picture.
Yeah.
Akasia says it right here. Tale as old as time. It's true. And even though the sign of a really good movie is already kind of knowing how the story's going to go, and yet it still seems fresh and new to you. And that's what this movie is. I mean, it's a love story. Everything's telegraphed. You know how it's going to go, but you're still invested. You still, every time, even though the beast is going to win in that battle at the end, you're like, maybe he doesn't this time, even though it's a movie you've seen 100 times.
Yeah.
And I mean, the songs are wonderful. Be Our Guest is one of my favorite songs of all time.
So good.
I mean, it's good. This is going to be a hard one to beat. Hercules has an uphill battle on this one for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's see what the people have to say, though. If you want to vote for Beauty and the Beast, go ahead and do exclamation vote 2 in the chat. If you want to do Hercules, do exclamation vote 7 in the chat. This one's an easy one for me. Beauty and the Beast all the way. Hercules for me, I enjoy it. I don't love it. Which is fine. I'm happy to say for all these movies, there isn't really a bad movie for any of these.
No,
These are all like really good movies. It's just a level of good, and it's all personal preference too. Anyway, I'm curious though, being that Beauty and the Beast, I still haven't even voted yet. I'm going to vote right now. Being that Beauty and the Beast is going to win this. How far would you have voted for Hercules? Is it one of your all-time favorites, or were just hoping to at least get it past this first round?
I suppose at least get it past this first round. If it came up against Lion King, Aladdin, Mulan, I don't think it would have might have gotten further than Mulan, but definitely not any further than Lion King or Aladdin. I think for me in this, Lion King, Aladdin are the ones that are going to be difficult to beat. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, look, it's the number 2 seed for a reason. It's got such indelible classic characters. Some of the things that people are saying, Second Street Marvel, I can't bring it up here because the vote's still going on, but Second Street Marvel says, I don't think I've seen all of Hercules. And that's not really surprising because it's one of those movies. Look, I've seen this movie plenty of times just because, like I said, it's a favorite in the household. But there have been times where I've checked out of Hercules for sure, where I've started it and I was just like, man, I can't finish it. But Beauty and the Beast, no matter where I started, I always seem to be able to finish it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I think I might just be talking from a strictly musical standpoint. I mean, the music of Beauty and the Beast is up there, but I think what does bring her, drag Hercules through is its music.
Definitely. And I really like the animation style too. It's sort of in that the same style as Emperor's New Groove. It's sort of similar on that, which that's I can't wait to talk one day talk about that movie because I love Emperor's New Groove. I can't wait to discuss that one. So good.
Oh, it's such a great film, and it's one of those ones that's got that little cult following, and I feel that year on year it just grows up a little bit every.
Yeah, people don't know the beauty of that film. Not enough people talk about that film. I don't know why. Maybe because it's David Spade and people just don't give him the time of day. Even though, hey, check David Spade's got a new show on Comedy Central. I watch it a lot on YouTube. It's really funny. If you're a David Spade fan, watch it. I know I'm off on a tangent now, but one day we'll talk about Emperor's New Groove.
This isn't a paid sponsorship.
No, not an ad. There's not an ad on this one. All right, we have Beauty and the Beast, the number 2 seed, moving on with 86% of the vote. Let's jump back to our bracket. Man, crushed it. We got some interesting matchups going into the second round. These are going to be tough. I think they're going to be extremely close. I think it's going to give people anxiety on figuring out exactly who they're going to vote for this. So let's just jump into it. We have the Lion King going up against Mulan, the number 1 seed against the number 5 seed. What do we have here? How do you feel about these two movies?
Again, this is the annoying thing is that the Lion King, as I said, I mean, it's my second favorite film of all time.
Oh.
You know, animated, live action. It's just always been I mean, so much so, my mum actually took me just before the current global climate. My mum took me to see the West End musical again. This is for the second time.
Nice.
And I sat there. I was like, I don't care what medium this story comes to me in. I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And I've never really been able to pinpoint exactly what it is about the Lion King. I don't think it's exactly one thing. It's just the combination of all its elements, its characters, its story, its music, its animation. It's beautiful. The colors are insane, especially in I Just Can't Wait to Be King, how they completely changed the whole color palette just for that song, and it's just beautiful to watch. Also helped that lions are my favorite animal as well, so that's probably an indication as to why I love this film. It's I want to say that the Lion King is the one to beat. The Lion King is the one that's never going to be beat, and so for me it will cruise through to the final, and if it doesn't cruise through to a winning spot, then we've put up a good argument for the other film.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Mulan, I think it's hitting a buzzsaw when it comes to the Lion King. I mean, it starts off with Circle of Life, and still to this day, one of the best, cold opens to a movie that there ever was. The combination of the song and the way it was animated and shot, it just brings you into the world, like it smacks you in the face, and you're just like, after that, you're just like, I'm in. And it was the brilliant thing about what Disney did with that was that they released that as a trailer, which was next to unheard of at the time, to release a full scene. And they released that was their trailer, was the unedited, the whole thing. And people got to watch that over and over again, especially obviously not online, but they kept seeing that in the theater, which was the best way to experience. And you see that as a trailer before movies, and you're like, I have to see this movie. And then you see this movie, and it hits you in the face, and then it reels it back a little bit with Can't Wait to Be King, and then it just nails it home with the Stampede. And from there on, you're just dumbfounded. Like, how can an animated movie just crush your heart and make you like hurt your soul so much? And that just did that for me, and it stuck with me forever.
I think the last time that I watched The Lion King, and this was just ahead of going to see the live action version, I very subconsciously sort of, as Mufasa's death scene came along, I very subconsciously got myself up. I don't know what I went to do. I think just take the washing out or something. And then everything timed perfectly that when I got back to my seat, Mufasa was gone. Simba was already running off into the desert. And I was like, I think something in my subconscious was like, I can't watch this again. I can't be traumatized yet again.
Yeah. Man, it's tough. I'm gonna start the poll. We can continue talking about this as it roll. And you know what? I feel bad for Mulan in this one. I think if Mulan had ended up going up against maybe not Beauty and the Beast, but had it gone up against Aladdin, I think it might have actually had a shot, possibly. Maybe, but not this crowd, not who we've been seeing so far. But I think that there's a reason. Yeah, it's so funny too. I know we were joking earlier about Kimba and the White Lion, but it's definitely something to bring up. That it's, man, it is undeniably incredibly similar, and even some shot by shot stuff. I've watched this side by side video on YouTube, and I'm just like, at first when I first saw that, I was like, I'm not surprised, because in that time period, people were stealing stuff from Japan and China all the time, and we didn't know any better. Consumers didn't know any better, because we didn't have access to that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And so I'm like, does that kill it for me? And then I thought, I was very torn and conflicted the first time I heard about it and saw about it. And then as I thought about it more, I was like, I know that it's similar, and I know that they may have ripped it off, but there's still something about the music that's its own. I mean, that Elton John did on its own, and I think that helped ease my mind on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. You've seen it, I'm
It's
sure, the
amazing how Disney's
comparisons.
been able to sweep that under the rug for
Yeah.
How long is it now? It's almost 30 years now. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really come out. I mean, maybe people knew about it, but this was a recent thing for me. Within the last 2-3 years, I heard about it. I had heard rumblings before, but I never really watched anything. I think part of me was blissfully ignorant and not wanting to see the similarities because I didn't want it to taint my feelings on this movie. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still voting for it. I voted for Lion King because I think it should move on. It's still one of my favorites, but I gotta knock a couple points off, I think, for that.
Yeah, but I guess it's goes back to what you're saying about what was accessible, and maybe that more of Kimber is now accessible. People can put those comparisons up online.
Well, right.
And now we can really see that story.
Right. That's the big thing is in an age where social media and YouTube and everything is prevalent. I mean, we can now see everything. But I don't think it matters now because at least for this round, The Lion King, as the time comes to a close, is our winner, going on with 72% of the vote. It's moving on. I'm not exactly shocked. I'm not surprised. A pretty big margin for sure. Now this next one, I think we might have a slight upset here. I don't know. This is going to be a real tough one. This is going to be it's probably the next closest one. Aladdin's going to come in with a lot of close matchups now. We have the number 3 seed of Aladdin going up against the number 2 seed of Beauty and the Beast. I'll defer to you first. How do you feel about this matchup? Man, this is tough.
This is really tough. If this was Wimbledon terms, this is. If Djokovic is the Lion King, this is Nadal and Federer in their prime, right? This is tough. Beauty and the Beast. It's that Federer. It's that experience. It. So many people just love it and believe in it, and it is a timeless story. When in the first round, everyone writing into the chat, tale as old as time, and y'all are right. It's tough because Aladdin has always been so much closer to my heart than Beauty and the Beast, but I can recognize Beauty and the Beast's excellence.
Sure.
We say sort of how the Little Mermaid began this Renaissance period, but I think Beauty and the Beast was the one that was like, this, we're doing things differently now, and this is how it goes. If Little Mermaid was the groundbreaker, Beauty and the Beast was the trendsetter. So, I really don't know where we go on this one. I mean, I've not really spoken about Beauty and the Beast, so I guess I'll talk about it now.
Go for it.
I'll sort of say, I love the array of supporting characters in Beauty and the Beast. I love Lumiere and Cogsworth and Mrs. Potts. I love LeFou. I think LeFou is hands down just one of the most ridiculously funny characters. And the Gaston song, it's just it amplifies that and exemplifies it. It's brilliant. And I think what's quite nice actually about Beauty and the Beast is that throughout most of the film, we are, I guess, in a way led to believe that the Beast is kind of the villain, certainly at the beginning of the film. Mm-hmm. But then as the film moves on, Gaston, he's just sort of that village annoying idiot.
Right.
But then he sort of, the way he turns halfway through the film and he's just evil and brutal and then the Beast, he just becomes more lovable, and we're like, oh, this guy that we were told was a horrible person, he's actually got this incredible heart inside. And so it the kind of the morality there of you might not look great on the outside, but you've got a heart of gold on the inside. Same to what Hunchback does for Quasimodo.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a more intricate story than Aladdin. But Aladdin is a funner ride.
Yeah, it's some great points you're making. Yeah, absolutely. Beauty and the Beast has the more enriching story. You have characters with better story arcs. Everyone too, between Belle, Beast, not so much Lumiere and all those guys. Those your comic relief. So typically you don't necessarily have that. So incredible story versus, like you said, it's a fun ride. I mean, by the time you get to Prince Ali, I mean it's you're in it for the fun. I mean that's one of the best uplifting, exciting, funny songs that there is in that movie, and you're like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is you got friend like me jumping into Prince Ali, and man, what a great combination. I think so okay, so the songs are pretty even. The voice cast is fairly even though yes, you do have Robin Williams, but I think where Aladdin might be a little top heavy as far as voice cast goes, I think Beauty and the Beast is more well-rounded. So I'll call that kind of a wash because Robin Williams is so good. So at that point, I think I got to go and base it on animation. And I think you're right. Beauty and the Beast does some incredible animation. And I got to be honest, I don't know that Aladdin holds up as much. I don't know why. Well, maybe it's just me.
They both have that 3D shot, don't they? Aladdin with carpet in the cave and Beauty and the Beast in the ballroom cave for the Beauty and the Beast song. And I think that Beauty and the Beast, in terms of that, edges it. I think that sweeping ballroom shot, people still talk about that today as just being one of the greatest shots in film history, and especially for animation as well. Like, it was incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what the people have to say, though. We got Aladdin going up against... Oh, let me hit start. Uh-oh, something went wrong. Uh-oh, there we go. Okay, poll has started. If you want to vote for Aladdin, go ahead and do exclamation vote 3. If you want to do Beauty and the Beast, do exclamation vote 2. Like I said, this one is definitely a tough one for me. I think at the end of the day, though, I gotta go with Beauty and the Beast. I think that I don't like. I kind of touched on it a little bit. Aladdin is fun, but I don't know that it holds up animation wise. It's I don't know. I've rewatched it recently, obviously to prep for the show, and it just I don't know. I'm torn. Like it's so hard picking between two movies individually. They're so great. I do love how this is going to be a close one though. We already got 60% for Beauty and the Beast, 40% for Aladdin. I haven't voted yet. Now we're tied. So this one's going to be a tough one. Did you vote yet?
Yeah. I've gone for Aladdin. As I said, it's always been closer to my heart, and that still stands out. So, but I won't be disappointed if it gets edged out here.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna pull the trigger here. I'm gonna go Beauty and the Beast.
Oof.
I know. It's
there it is.
I'm not going to say people are going to be mad about this. I mean, how could they, right? I mean, Beauty and the Beast is still a classic movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fine.
I mean, it's as we said, like there are no bad films in this.
Exactly.
In this
Thank you. Been trying to make me feel better. I appreciate that.
and at this stage of the poll as well, it's like, you know what? It's all good from here. It's all gravy from here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat here. Guys, if you definitely give us your thoughts, give us your opinions, I'll be happy to read them out. Let me know what you guys think about this. And we'll see what people say. Sir Nerderlot said, "This is the toughest for me, even though Akasia will probably hate me forever." And she responds and says, "I never really fell for Aladdin. I just always remember how beautiful Beauty and the Beast was." And that goes along with what you were saying with the animation. And I mean, people still talk about the dress, the golden yellow dress in the ballroom scene. I mean, it's such a it's
iconic, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly iconic. I mean, it's something that I think, you know, if we're going to talk iconic, I think Robin Williams as the genie is always going to be iconic, but I think that's the character. I don't think there's any one scene that's necessarily going to be as iconic as some scenes in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
But time has ended. Beauty and the Beast, man, this was an incredibly close one. 57% to 43. This was a tough one. I got to be honest, prepping for this ahead of time, I kind of, you know, I have to prep a lot of this poll stuff. This is what I predicted. I thought that these were the two that were going to make it to the end. I thought we'd have a couple upsets on the way, and we did. We had Mulan with the upset, which was great. I love seeing upsets when we do this kind of stuff. But it's really hard to go against Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, and this is going to be a knockout, drag out finals. I think if this isn't like a 49 to 51% vote, I'm gonna, or close to that, I'm going to be incredibly shocked, because this one's a tough one here. LB, welcome, sir. Now, number 1 seed, number 2 seed. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you talk first before I roll the poll. I'll wait a couple minutes. You let me know. This is a tough one. I know you said these are classic, undeniable classic films. Which way are you leaning on this one?
I mean, as I said from the beginning of this debate, I'm always going to lean Lion King. What sets it aside from Beauty and the Beast, though? It's tough. Like, how do you find that? Is there that one thing that really does set it aside? I don't know. I think maybe, you know, we spoke about in the last round about the voice actors and how, you know, Robin Williams is great, but overall, does Beauty and the Beast just have a better voice cast? I think The Lion King edges it just again. You know, you have Matthew Broderick, you have James L. Jones, you have Jeremy Irons, you have Rowan Atkinson, Whoopi Goldberg. It's just insane, the cast they got for this. And The Lion King was the B project against Pocahontas as well. You know, it was just meant to be the one that, here, B team, you go out and do what you want. And I think because of that, they created such an amazing film. They went out there and they were like, right, no strings attached. Let's go for this. And so I think for that reason, The Lion King just always edges it out for me.
Yeah, that's a great point. That the freedom that they had to make what they wanted really were able to like push boundaries. I mean, I'll say this about both of these two films, man, they push the boundaries when it comes to animation, for sure. You know, with The Lion King and both Lion King and Beauty and the Beast incorporating digital animation at a time where it really wasn't seen, and they were using it in such a way that was so blended. Like, a lot of people had no idea that the Stampede in The Lion King was digitally animated. They
incredible.
Just assumed that it was hand drawn. And it just so seamless.
Watching videos on YouTube of how they did that, and you just like in the early 90s you could do that. Anyone who hasn't seen it, just search it in YouTube. You'll find videos how they explain how that was done. It is incredible. And you know, the opening, as we said earlier, The Circle of Life, it's forever been my favorite Disney song. It's forever been one of my favorite openings of a film ever. And
although, you know, Beauty and the Beast has a great opening too, where they kind of give you a prologue of the story and everything. I mean, that's a great intro too. I mean, and it sort of gives you like a fairy. It definitely makes you feel like you're in a fairy tale, and with the music and the narration, they really bring you into it. I mean, man, they really are very similar and comparable to each other. It's a tough one.
And also in the same way how I said earlier, how the Little Mermaid was the beginner and Beauty and the Beast sort of set that path. And the Lion King sort of trumps the Little Mermaid in a similar way as well. Ursula in the Little Mermaid, who I said is a great villain. She embodied that camp Disney villain. That's where it sort of started, and then Scar comes in. And just Jeremy Irons, what he did there, he took camp Disney villain and he went, all right, here's how I do it.
I mean, when you're comparing him and the hyenas to Nazis and doing like the Nazi stomp walk, I mean, the high kick, I mean, that's as serious as you're gonna get for a Disney movie that without outright putting the swastika bands on the hyena's arms. Like they made it pretty clear who's the good guys and the bad guys in that one.
Yeah, definitely for
sure.
I'm voting now.
Okay, so if you want to vote for the Lion King, do !vote 1 in the chat. If you want to do Beauty and the Beast, !vote 2 in the chat. A couple things from the chatters here. James at DKOT Rebel said, give an artist freedom and you'll find an audience you didn't know was possible. Absolutely true. I know it's not a popular thing to say, but I'm not always opposed to your studio involvement. There have been many situations as it was good as it is bad. And that's why making a movie is so difficult, because if you get the right producers who really know what they're doing, that hand in hand really does work. But you're right, sometimes too much overbearing can kill a project as well. And it's I don't know, with animation I feel like sometimes you do get a little bit more freedom because of the nature of the medium. You're not necessarily restricted. The only thing that restricts you is your imagination. Obviously budgets and whatnot, but that being put aside, what you put on the screen is your imagination. And that's why I love the medium so much, because anything that you can create in your mind, you can create, in a studio, on a pen or, in a paper or a digital screen. I also
kind of think as well, like, you always sit there and you kind of go, someone drew that, and not only did they draw that, they then animated that, and you're like, I'm sure it's out there of how to do it, but for me, I've never searched for that answer, and so I'm always just in awe of whenever I watch animation.
I agree. I can't draw like to save my life. If you want a stick figure or a 3D box, I am your guy. Okay, I can definitely do that stuff. But drawing has always been a skill that has escaped me in life, and I think that's probably why I love the medium so much, because I can't do it. So I'm so impressed by those that can get what's in your head and actually physically to your hand down and get it there. It's unbelievable for sure. Okay. We have finished the poll. Lion King is your winner. Let's go back to the bracket. Oh wait, I gotta save this real quick. I gotta put Lion King in the bracket, man. And this was not as close as I thought it was going to be. Lion King with 75% of the vote is the winner. Can you believe it? 75% of the vote.
Wow.
Crushed it. People are huge fans. Huge fan. Like, let me just read out some of these. Akasia says, as tough as it is nostalgia. Here, I'll go back here so that people can see. As tough as it is nostalgia wise, I absolutely love Belle. She's an actual role model, but The Lion King is an amazing story as a whole. I agree. It was really tough for me too. I really thought if there was any movie for tonight that was going to change my mind, it was going to be Beauty and the Beast. But it just didn't do it. I didn't get enough convincing from the people tonight. You could play Lion King at any time and it could relate to current time. It's just wonderful. I agree. I think you could do that for Beauty and the Beast too. I think a love story of finding your inner good is a story that, you know, like they said, tale as old as time. It could relate now. It's going to relate 50 years from now.
Well, that's why we still talk about these films now, you know, because they just, you know, they have that timeless factor. And
absolutely,
you know, as much as Disney want to remake all their properties, the day I have kids, they're watching these first, and that's it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, with my kids, they watch them both. I mean, I just usually start them out with the animated, and then if they move them on, you know, I mean, these are such classic movies that you know, it's no wonder that these things just last forever. Elliot, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and joining the people in the chat and talking Disney movies. These were some awesome movies. These are some awesome insight and discussions that we had. This was one of the best episodes we've ever had, and it's all thanks to you. And I thank you so much for coming on. I totally appreciate it.
Adam, thanks a lot. It's a lot of. I said in my tweet earlier, it will be worth staying up for, and hell, I was right. It really was. I had a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. It's always fun talking movies with people, especially some new friends. And Elliot, you are absolutely welcome here back here anytime. We'll have to get you scheduled in, talk some more movies with us because that was fun. You brought it tonight, and I loved every second of it.
Cheers, man. Thank you. And I mean, I love the setup you have here. It's beautiful. I just the smooth transitions. I've been here like, whoa, how does he do all this the whole night?
What I'll tell you when I first started the show, it was a little wonky. Like all these like animated graphics I didn't have before because I had an older computer. And then for people who were watching on Twitter, I was posting pictures. I built my own computer. It was the first time I ever did it, and I was just very nervous. But I did it, and now because I built my own computer, upgraded everything, now I can have all these little fancy, you know, squiggly lines moving around and everything, and these wipes, and it doesn't completely crash my computer, which was the nice goal of everything. So
it's always handy,
But thank you for noticing, and thank you, I appreciate that.
No, it's great. No worries, man.
Cool. Okay. Elliot, guys, go ahead. Make sure you follow Elliot on Twitter. It's at Hakuna MaChatter. Follow him on YouTube as well. He does some awesome content. I put all the links to his Twitter and the channel in the description below. So definitely go ahead, give this guy a subscribe, and follow him and get some good content as well on YouTube. Elliot, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much.
We will talk soon. See
you later, everyone.
As for everybody else, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, share it if you really enjoyed it. We will be back next week and we'll be talking some excellent movies. Check our Twitter. Talk to you soon.